Officer Travis Harlan's metal handcuffs clicked shut around Dr. Lena Caldwell's wrists with a sound that echoed through the Riverside Mall parking lot. Her only crime? Asking a simple question, why was she being stopped? Travis pressed her face first against the scorching hood of his cruiser while 17 people filmed on their phones. A white woman in yoga pants whispered to her husband, loud enough for the words to carry. She must have done something. Dr. Lena Caldwell's designer briefcase lay open on the asphalt, papers scattered in the afternoon breeze. Among them, a military challenge coin caught the sunlight. Nobody noticed. Officer Bennett smirked as he tightened the cuffs. "Ma'am, if you just complied from the start, we wouldn't be here. But you had to get uppity. Have you ever been punished not for what you did, but for refusing to shrink? This is one of those real-life stories that proves silence isn't always safety." The entire incident began sometime earlier that afternoon. Dr. Lena Caldwell had just exited Marshall & Howe Boutique carrying 2 garment bags. She wore tailored charcoal slacks, a cream silk blouse, and her natural hair twisted into an elegant updo, professional, polished, expensive. Inside the store, manager Elena Walsh stood at the window, phone pressed to her ear. Her eyes tracked Dr. Lena Caldwell's movement across the parking lot. "Yes, police," Elena said, voice low. "I need to report a suspicious person, a black woman, late 30s. She's been sitting in a Mercedes in our parking lot for some time. It just doesn't feel right." The dispatch operator's voice crackled through. "Ma'am, has this person committed a crime?" Elena hesitated. Her fingers twisted the phone cord. Well, no, not exactly. But she was asking all these questions about our VIP membership program, very insistent, made our associates uncomfortable. And that car is way too nice. Could be stolen. The operator sighed. "We'll send a unit to check it out." Elena hung up, satisfied. She had done her civic duty, protected her store. These things were important in times like these. What Elena didn't know was that Dr. Lena Caldwell held 3 graduate degrees, specialized in defense contract ethics, and had been featured in Defense Weekly sometime earlier for uncovering millions in military contract fraud. Elena also didn't recognize the VIP questions as preliminary research. Dr. Lena Caldwell was considering whether Marshall & Howe's corporate compliance matched their diversity marketing. It didn't. Officers Travis Harlan and Bennett arrived moments later. Travis had been on the force for years, barrel-chested with prior civilian complaints buried in his file. His partner Bennett was younger, former military police. Both men approached the Mercedes with hands near their weapons. Dr. Lena Caldwell sat in the driver's seat, windows down, responding to a text from her assistant about a Pentagon briefing. She glanced up as Travis's shadow fell across her door. "License and registration," Travis said. No greeting, no explanation. Dr. Lena Caldwell set down her phone, confused. "Good afternoon, officer. I'm parked. Was I doing something wrong?" "I asked for your documents." "Of course. I'm happy to provide them." "May I ask why I'm being stopped?" That question, polite, reasonable, direct, landed wrong. Travis's jaw tightened. His hand moved closer to his holster. "Step out of the vehicle." "Sir, I haven't been driving. I'm sitting in a parking space, but I'm happy to show you my identification if you'd just tell me." "Out now!" Bennett had circled behind the car, hand resting on his weapon, standard intimidation posture. Dr. Lena Caldwell's phone, equipped with an automatic recording app she had installed after her 3rd random stop in some time, captured every word. Dr. Lena Caldwell moved slowly, keeping her hands visible. "I'm reaching for my purse to get my identification. Hands where I can see them. They are visible. I'm literally showing you my movements. Are you resisting an officer?" A small crowd gathered. 16 phones rose, the modern witness stand. A teenage boy in a basketball jersey moved closer, filming, whispering to his friend. She didn't do anything. She literally didn't do anything. Dr. Lena Caldwell stepped out of the vehicle, hands raised to shoulder height. "I'm not resisting, I'm complying. I just need to understand." Travis grabbed her arm. Dr. Lena Caldwell's reflexes kicked in. She pulled back, not violently, just instinctively, the way any human being recoils from unexpected force. That was all Travis needed. "She's resisting." Bennett's cuffs. The takedown happened fast, professional, practiced. Dr. Lena Caldwell's briefcase hit the pavement. Contents exploded across the asphalt. A Department of Defense access badge skittered under a nearby car. Her airline boarding pass, marked with bold red letters reading "Priority Boarding," fluttered against a tire. A folder labeled Senate Armed Services Committee, classified, landed face up near Travis's boot. He didn't look down. The teenage boy's voice rose above the murmur. "This is crazy. She didn't do anything wrong." But three white shoppers stood at a distance, heads together, nodding. One woman said to her companion, "They don't stop people for nothing. She must have stolen something." Another added, "Probably drugs in the car." Travis's radio crackled. "Dispatch, this is Unit 12. We have a subject refusing to comply. Subject is hostile and argumentative. Requesting backup for transport." Dr. Lena Caldwell had been silent for some time. She sat on the curb now, hands cuffed behind her back, watching her professional life scattered across dirty concrete. Her Apple Watch vibrated. The screen lit up with a text preview visible to anyone who bothered to look. "Lena, are we still on for the Pentagon briefing? The secretary wants your report before the meeting." Nobody looked. Her briefcase contained more than scattered papers. Her DoD civilian contractor badge with level 4 clearance lay under someone's SUV. Her business card, cream-colored with raised lettering, read, "Dr. Lena Caldwell, Principal Defense Ethics and Oversight, Morrison Strategic Group." A handwritten note on Pentagon stationery, partially visible beneath her overturned purse, said, "Lena, thanks for the Edwards Air Force Base audit. You saved us millions and 3 careers. Colonel Patterson." Elena Walsh emerged from her boutique, arms crossed, mouth set in a thin line of satisfaction. She stood next to Frank Perkins, the mall security supervisor. Both watched the scene unfold. Neither recognized Dr. Lena Caldwell from the feature sometime earlier. The headline had been impossible to miss. Analyst uncovers millions in military contract fraud. But then people rarely recognized competence when it came wrapped in brown skin. Dr. Lena Caldwell took slow breaths. She had been here before, not exactly here, but close enough. She knew the protocol now. Stay calm, stay alive, document everything. Let them think they had won, then dismantle them with paperwork. These powerful stories always followed the same pattern: authority misused, power abused, and somewhere always a receipt. 3 more cruisers arrived. Sirens wailing, lights painting the parking lot in rotating red and blue. Sergeant Paul Reynolds emerged from the lead vehicle. He was some years from retirement, annoyed that his Saturday had been interrupted, his khaki uniform pulled tight across his midsection. "What have we got, Travis?" Travis gestured toward Dr. Lena Caldwell, still seated on the curb. "Suspicious vehicle, uncooperative suspect, possible stolen property." He nodded toward the Mercedes. "High-end car registered to her, but the circumstances are questionable." Dr. Lena Caldwell spoke without raising her voice. "Sergeant, my name is Dr. Lena Caldwell. That is my vehicle. I can provide registration, insurance, 3 forms of identification. I have committed no crime." Paul barely glanced at her. To Travis, "Did you run the plates?" "Comes back clean, registered to her." "Then why are we standing in a parking lot with 5 units? Travis lowered his voice, but Dr. Lena Caldwell's ears caught every word. "She was argumentative, Sarge. Wouldn't follow simple commands. You know the type. Thinks she's above the rules." Paul sighed. The paperwork on this would eat his afternoon. Just get a statement and cut her loose. This is a waste of resources. But Bennett interrupted, holding up Dr. Lena Caldwell's DoD badge. "Actually, Sarge, we found this. Looks official, but could be fake. Stolen valor, maybe." Paul squinted at the badge. "Is that real?" "Who knows? Probably ordered it online." Mall security supervisor Frank Perkins rolled up in his golf cart. "Officers, thank God you're here. This woman has been loitering for some time. We've received multiple complaints from customers." Dr. Lena Caldwell's voice stayed level, professional. "I shopped at 3 stores over the past stretch. I have receipts with timestamps. I'm sitting in a public parking lot." Frank addressed Paul, not Dr. Lena Caldwell. "Sir, we reserve the right to refuse service and remove trespassers from mall property." "I'm not trespassing. I'm a paying customer." Frank's smirk was ugly. "Not anymore. You're banned from Riverside Mall, effective immediately." The crowd had grown, some phones still recording. Others had lowered their devices, uncomfortable, uncertain whether they had witnessed justice or injustice. The teenage boy stood closest, his phone aimed at the cruiser window. He mouthed 2 words. "I'm sorry." Dr. Lena Caldwell nodded once. She wasn't angry at him, wasn't angry at the crowd. They were doing what they could. Her anger was reserved for systems, for protocols that punished questions, for training that taught escalation before conversation. As the cruiser pulled away, Elena Walsh stood in the boutique window, arms still crossed, satisfied, protected, safe. She would return to work and tell the story over coffee. How she had spotted something suspicious and called it in. How she had kept her store safe. How you couldn't be too careful these days. She would never connect the dots. Frank Perkins drove his golf cart back to the security office, already drafting his incident report. Subject was belligerent and refused to comply with mall security directives. Police were called to ensure public safety. He would file it and forget it. The crowd dispersed slowly. Some people headed back to their shopping. Others stood in clusters debating what they had seen. She must have done something. They don't arrest people for nothing. Did you see those cops? They were looking for a reason. I'm just glad it wasn't me. That last comment, whispered by a young black woman to her girlfriend, carried the weight of generations. The teenage boy didn't delete his video. Even when a mall security guard told him he needed to erase it, even when an officer approached and suggested it would be better for everyone if the footage disappeared, he uploaded a second video instead. Follow-up commentary, his voice shaking but determined. This is wrong. I don't care what they say she did. This was wrong. His video would be Exhibit A in the federal investigation. Dr. Lena Caldwell was placed in the back of Travis's cruiser. The cage separated her from the front seat, the smell of old sweat and fear. Through the window, she watched the crowd watching her, some phones still recording. Others had lowered their devices, uncomfortable, uncertain whether they had witnessed justice or injustice. The Riverside Police Department station smelled like burnt coffee, an institutional cleaning solution. Travis shoved the arrest paperwork across the booking desk. Officer Kim Tran, the intake clerk, sat behind bulletproof glass, bored, typing without looking up. What have we got? Disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, suspicious activity. Kim's fingers moved across the keyboard. Name, Thornton. Maya Thornton. Kim's hands stopped mid-keystroke. She glanced up, eyes narrowing slightly. Wait, Dr. Lena Caldwell? Travis frowned. You know her? No, but Kim typed the name into the federal law enforcement database, standard protocol for anyone claiming government credentials. Her screen loaded, then flooded red. Alert. Subject is DOD Civilian Contractor, Level 4. Clearance active. Investigator, Defense Ethics, and Oversight. Do not detain without federal authorization. Immediate Supervisor, General Victor Morrison, Pentagon. Kim's face drained of color. Sarge. Paul had been pouring his 4th coffee of the afternoon. He set the mug down, annoyed. What now? He walked to the desk, read the screen, said nothing for some time. Dr. Lena Caldwell stood between 2 officers, still handcuffed, hair slightly disheveled, but posture perfect. She spoke quietly. I tried to tell you. Travis blustered, face reddening. That database could be compromised. Anyone can... Kim cut him off, voice sharp. It's authenticated through the Secretary of Defense's office. She's listed as lead investigator on... Kim clicked through several screens. Her expression shifted from confusion to horror. Oh no. Oh no. Paul leaned closer. What? She's auditing Riverside PD. You, us, this department. Kim's voice dropped to a whisper. We're under active federal investigation for misuse of millions in DOD surplus equipment program funds. The booking area went completely silent. Even the radio chatter seemed to fade. Dr. Lena Caldwell's voice remained even, steady. I was conducting preliminary interviews this week. I had appointments scheduled with 3 of your officers for the coming days. I was reviewing case files in my car when your mall security called you on me. Travis's face had progressed from red to purple. We didn't know. You didn't ask. Dr. Lena Caldwell's eyes were steel. I told you who I was. I asked to show you my credentials. You saw my DOD badge on the ground and called it fake without bothering to verify. Bennett tried a different approach, voice conciliatory. Ma'am, this is clearly just a misunderstanding. It's Dr. Lena Caldwell, and no, this is a pattern. Dr. Lena Caldwell turned to Kim. Pull my traffic stop history in Riverside County. It's all in your system. Kim's fingers flew across the keyboard. Her jaw dropped. Multiple stops over some time, all released without charges or citations. All by this department. Dr. Lena Caldwell added, all while I was conducting preliminary research for the federal audit, all initiated by calls about suspicious black women in nice cars. She looked directly at Paul. Tell me, Sergeant, how many white DOD contractors have been handcuffed in your parking lots? The silence stretched. Paul reached for his keys. Dr. Lena Caldwell, I sincerely apologize for this unfortunate confusion. Let me remove those restraints. Don't! The single word cut like a blade. Don't apologize yet, not until you understand what you've done. She held out her wrists. Uncuff me, then give me my phone. Paul fumbled with his key. The handcuffs clicked open. Dr. Lena Caldwell rubbed her wrists, red marks visible on her brown skin. Travis retrieved her phone from the evidence bag, handling it like it might detonate. He placed it on the counter. Dr. Lena Caldwell picked it up, unlocked it. Missed calls, voicemails, text messages. She scrolled to a single name, General Victor Morrison, pressed dial, set the phone to speaker. It rang once. Lena, where the hell have you been? I've had the Secretary of Defense's Chief of Staff calling me. Are you safe? Dr. Lena Caldwell's voice was calm, professional. General Morrison, I'm fine. I'm at Riverside Police Department. I was detained, handcuffed, and arrested while preparing case files for the federal audit you assigned me. The pause lasted some time. When General Victor Morrison spoke again, his voice could have frozen nitrogen. Put whoever is in charge on this line right now. Paul took the phone like it was radioactive. His hand shook slightly. This is Sergeant Paul Reynolds, sir. Sergeant, this is General Victor Morrison, Deputy Director of Defense Oversight. The woman you detained is a civilian contractor with Level 4 security clearance conducting a federal audit of your department. You have precisely some time to explain why she was in handcuffs. Paul stammered through the story. Suspicious vehicle report, uncooperative subject, routine traffic stop, standard procedure. Routine. Morrison's voice could have cut steel. She identified herself. She showed credentials. She asked for your justification, and you arrested her anyway. Sir, you thought a black woman in an expensive car was suspicious. You thought asking questions was insubordination. You thought compliance meant silence. Morrison's tone shifted lower, colder. Here's what happens next. Sergeant, Dr. Lena Caldwell's audit scope just expanded. You're now under review for discriminatory enforcement patterns, abuse of federal equipment grants, and potential civil rights violations. I am personally flagging this incident for the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Paul went pale, visible even under the fluorescent lights. Expect federal investigators within days. They will review every traffic stop your department has conducted in the past couple of years, every use of force incident, every civilian complaint, every equipment requisition form. Morrison wasn't finished. And Sergeant, that routine stop you mentioned was recorded by multiple civilians. It's already uploaded to social media. Your body camera footage will be Exhibit A in my report to the Senate Armed Services Committee. Dr. Lena Caldwell's arrest while conducting a federal investigation will be documented in federal court records. Paul tried to speak, failed. Your department receives millions annually in federal grants, defense equipment, training funds, technology upgrades. Want to guess what happens if we find a pattern of discriminatory enforcement? Sir, I can explain. Tell me why I shouldn't recommend immediate suspension of all federal funding to Riverside PD pending investigation completion. The booking area had filled with officers during the call, everyone frozen, listening. Dr. Lena Caldwell stood silent. She didn't smile, didn't gloat, just waited. Paul looked at her, really looked at her for the first time, saw the intelligence in her eyes, the degrees she held, the military connections she had built, the power she had earned through competence, not given through privilege. He saw all of it too late. Sir, we made a mistake. A serious mistake. Dr. Lena Caldwell will be released immediately with our full apology. We'll cooperate completely with any investigation. That's not good enough, Morrison said. Dr. Lena Caldwell, are you still there? Yes, General. What do you need? Dr. Lena Caldwell looked around the room. At Travis, who wouldn't meet her eyes. At Bennett, who had called her uppity. At Paul, who had ignored her credentials. At Kim Tran, the only person who had actually checked the facts. I need my briefcase and all its contents returned. I need copies of every body camera recording from this incident. I need the audio recording from the dispatch call that initiated the stop. And I need the names of every officer involved. Done. Sergeant, you heard her. Full disclosure. No delays. Yes, sir. Dr. Lena Caldwell, I'm sending a car for you. Federal transport. You're not riding in a police vehicle again. Thank you, General. And Lena, I'm sorry this happened. Don't be sorry. Be thorough. She ended the call. The booking area remained silent. Dr. Lena Caldwell looked at each officer in turn. Some time ago, I was hired to audit police departments in the region. Riverside PD was last on my list. After today, you're first. She turned to Kim. Get me my things. While Kim gathered Dr. Lena Caldwell's belongings from evidence, Travis finally spoke. Dr. Lena Caldwell, we were just doing our jobs. Dr. Lena Caldwell stopped, turned slowly. No, Officer Travis Harlan, you were just doing what you always do. The difference is this time there are consequences. Her briefcase was returned, papers reorganized, badge clipped to her belt, a black SUV with federal plates pulled up outside. 2 Defense Department security officers entered. Dr. Lena Caldwell, we're here to escort you. Dr. Lena Caldwell walked out of Riverside Police Department. The black stories that mattered weren't the ones where heroes swooped in. They were the ones where competent people documented everything, built unshakable cases, and dismantled broken systems with receipts. Justice wasn't always immediate, but it was coming. Monday morning, City Hall conference room smelled like anxiety and expensive coffee. Police Chief Robert Hendricks sat across from Dr. Lena Caldwell. He was some years old with decades on the force. He had built his career on union endorsements and tough-on-crime speeches. His hands rested on the mahogany table, thick fingers interlaced. The room held 6 people. City Attorney Lisa Ramirez, sharp suit, sharper mind. She knew they were in trouble. HR Director Marcus Webb, already sweating despite the air conditioning. Federal Mediator Caroline Oshiro, appointed by the Department of Defense, recording everything. And General Victor Morrison, appearing via secure video link, his face filling the screen at the head of the table. Dr. Lena Caldwell had a single manila folder. No laptop, no presentation materials, no theatrics. Chief Hendrick attempted conciliation before anyone else could speak. Dr. Lena Caldwell, on behalf of Riverside PD, I want to extend our deepest apologies for the incident. Officers Travis Harlan and Bennett have been placed on administrative leave pending internal investigation. We take these matters seriously. Pending nothing, Dr. Lena Caldwell interrupted, voice calm. They're symptoms. I'm here to discuss the disease. She opened her folder, slid a single page across the polished wood. Riverside PD traffic stop data. The numbers told the story. Black drivers, a disproportionate percentage of all stops. Black population, a small share of county residents. Citation rate for black drivers far higher. Citation rate for white drivers lower. Use of force incidents, black civilians far more likely. Chief Hendrick picked up the page. His expression didn't change, but his jaw tightened. These statistics don't necessarily indicate systemic discrimination. Dr. Lena Caldwell finished for him. Let's add context. She slid another document across the table. Federal Equipment Acquisition Log. Your department received millions in Department of Defense surplus equipment between some years. Rifles, body armor, surveillance technology, night vision equipment. Lisa Ramirez, the city attorney, leaned forward. Dr. Lena Caldwell continued, these grants require anti-bias training for all personnel who receive or use the equipment. Federal code, mandatory, not optional. She paused, letting that sink in. Your last certified training was some time ago. Officers have been hired or promoted since then. None have completed the required coursework. Chief Hendrick started to speak. We've been critically understaffed. Budget constraints, officer retention issues. You've been non-compliant. That's a material breach of federal contract. Dr. Lena Caldwell's voice never rose, never wavered. The penalty is full repayment of granted funds, plus interest calculated at federal rates, plus potential criminal fraud charges for falsifying compliance reports. The room froze. Marcus Webb, the HR director, went pale. Fraud charges. Dr. Lena Caldwell pulled out a tablet, swiped through a series of emails obtained through federal subpoena, emails that certain people had thought were private. Internal communication. Officer Bennett to Officer Travis Harlan some time ago. She read aloud. Another random stop on the west side. Third black driver this week. Captain says we need numbers for the quarterly report. Easy pickings. Chief Hendrick closed his eyes. Dr. Lena Caldwell swiped again. Sergeant Paul Reynolds to Captain DeMarco some time ago. Travis complained about mandatory bias training again. I told him we'd push it to next fiscal year. Guys, close to retirement. Let's not rock the boat. Ramirez, the attorney, put her head in her hands. One more swipe. Chief Hendrick to city manager some time ago. Dr. Lena Caldwell's voice remained steady, professional, devastating. Federal audit coming up next year. Make sure the numbers look good on paper. We need that equipment grant renewed. Our SWAT team depends on it. She set the tablet down. You falsified compliance reports to secure federal funding. That's wire fraud. You submitted multiple reports. Chief Hendrick exploded. His palm slammed the table. Now you wait just a goddamn minute. We serve this community. We put our lives on the line every single day. And you sit here with your fancy degrees and your Pentagon connections? And I have documentation. Dr. Lena Caldwell cut him off. Her voice never rose, never wavered. I have body camera footage showing multiple incidents where black civilians were stopped without probable cause. I have testimony from officers who witnessed policy violations and stayed silent due to department culture. She pulled another document from her folder. I have budget records showing federal funds allocated for community outreach programs were spent on tactical gear unauthorized for civilian law enforcement. I have training records showing officers working overtime were given equipment use certifications they never completed. She leaned forward. Chief Hendrick, you don't have a few bad apples. You have a system specifically designed to produce them, incentivized to produce them, protected when they do. General Victor Morrison's voice crackled through the screen. Chief, here are your options. The room turned toward the monitor. Option A, full cooperation. You implement every one of Dr. Lena Caldwell's reform recommendations. You discipline officers involved according to her findings. You submit to months of federal monitoring with embedded oversight personnel. Morrison paused. In exchange, we restructure your repayment schedule over years. We recommend to DOJ that criminal charges be limited to the officers who falsified reports, not department leadership. You keep most of your federal funding if you demonstrate measurable progress. Chief Hendrick looked at Ramirez. She gave the smallest headshake. Don't fight this. You'll lose. Option B, Morrison continued, voice hard. You fight. We pull all federal funding immediately. That's millions, approximately a significant percentage of your annual operating budget. We forward fraud findings to the Department of Justice. Every traffic stop your department has made in the past couple of years gets reviewed by federal civil rights investigators. He let that sink in. Discovery alone will cost your city millions in legal fees. Your officers will be subpoenaed. Your emails will be evidence. Your department will be the national example of why federal oversight is necessary. The silence in the room was absolute. What? Chief Hendrick's voice cracked. He cleared his throat. What reforms? Dr. Lena Caldwell slid a bound document across the table. 47 pages, spiral-bound, tabs marking sections. Riverside PD Accountability and Reform Framework, 7 core requirements, non-negotiable. She flipped to the summary page. 1. Mandatory bias training every 6 months. DOD certified curriculum. Testing required. Failure to pass means desk duty until certification. 2. Body cameras active 100% of the time during civilian interactions. No discretionary shutoffs. Footage auto-uploads to third-party server. Officers don't control the footage. 3. Independent Civilian Oversight Board. 7 civilians, 3 officers, 2 city council members. Subpoena power, budget authority, real teeth. 4. Stop data transparency. Real-time public dashboard showing every stop by race, neighborhood, outcome, and officer. Updated daily. 5. Early warning system. Officers with multiple civilian complaints in 12 months automatically assigned to desk duty pending review. 6. Community liaison officers hired from the neighborhoods with the highest stop rates. They report to the oversight board, not the police chief. 7. Federal monitor embedded in your department for months. Full access. Full authority to recommend terminations. Chief Hendrick stared at the document like it was a death sentence. This will take years to implement. You have some time for Phase 1. Body cameras and data dashboard are operational, or you lose federal funding. Dr. Lena Caldwell's tone left no room for negotiation. Morrison Strategic Group will provide technical support. The Pentagon is funding implementation as a pilot program. Marcus Webb spoke for the first time, voice tentative. What about the officers involved in the incident? Dr. Lena Caldwell's eyes hardened. Officer Travis Harlan, termination. Prior complaints for excessive force. No remedial training completed. Falsified his report on my arrest. Nobody spoke. Officer Bennett, suspension without pay, mandatory bias counseling, probationary status when he returns. One complaint during probation means automatic termination. Sergeant Paul Reynolds, voluntary retirement effective immediately or demotion to patrol officer. He created and perpetuated the culture that made the incident possible. She looked directly at Chief Hendrick. Your status is above my authority, but if I were you, I'd start drafting a resignation statement. The Federal Monitor will report directly to the DOJ. If you're still chief in some time, you'll be testifying in federal court. Ramirez jumped in, lawyer instincts engaged. Dr. Lena Caldwell, Chief Hendrick has decades of dedicated service to this community. So did the officers who beat Rodney King, Dr. Lena Caldwell said quietly. Time served doesn't erase harm done. It never has. The meeting ended some time later. Dr. Lena Caldwell walked out with her folder. Behind her, 6 people sat in stunned silence, realizing their careers would never be the same. Reform wasn't coming. It was already here. The headlines began that afternoon and cascaded through the week like dominoes. Riverside Police Chief announces retirement amid federal probe. DOD contractor detained by officers she was investigating faces funding loss. Viral videos lead to police reform. How one woman's arrest changed everything. Officer Travis Harlan was terminated after a disciplinary hearing. The police union initially fought the decision. They sent representatives, filed grievances, threatened arbitration. Then federal mediators presented his body camera footage side by side with his written report. The discrepancies were impossible to ignore. His report claimed Dr. Lena Caldwell had been verbally abusive and physically aggressive. The footage showed her asking calm questions and pulling away reflexively when grabbed. They also presented his emails, messages showing a pattern of targeting black drivers, jokes about quotas, complaints about diversity training being political correctness gone crazy. The union quietly withdrew its grievance. Travis was escorted from the building, box of personal items in hand, pension reduced, career over. Officer Bennett issued a public apology. It was wooden, clearly written by lawyers, deeply unsatisfying. I regret my actions during the incident involving Dr. Lena Caldwell. I recognize that my behavior did not meet the standards expected of law enforcement professionals. I am committed to personal growth and will complete all required counseling and training. He returned to duty sometime later, different, quieter, more careful. He requested assignment to community outreach programs. Some officers whispered he had gone soft. Others noticed he actually listened when civilians spoke. Sergeant Paul Reynolds chose retirement. His pension remained intact, but his legacy was destroyed. At his farewell gathering, attendance was sparse. No speeches about his years of service, no plaques commemorating his dedication. He left through the side door. Nobody noticed. Elena Walsh, the boutique manager who made the initial call, was terminated by Marshall & Howe corporate headquarters within days of the video going viral. The company released a carefully crafted statement. The actions of Ms. Walsh do not reflect the values of Marshall & Howe. We are committed to serving all customers with dignity and respect. Ms. Walsh's employment has been terminated effective immediately. The statement was hollow corporate damage control, but the termination was real. Elena's LinkedIn profile disappeared. Her Twitter account went private. She moved some time later. Frank Perkins, the mall security supervisor, was reassigned to administrative duties, reviewing camera footage in a windowless office. He filed a wrongful termination claim. It was dismissed. He quit some time later, citing hostile work environment. The irony was lost on no one. Sometime after the reforms began, Dr. Lena Caldwell returned to Riverside for the progress audit. The police station was unrecognizable. Body cameras were universal. Every officer wore one. The footage auto-uploaded to secure servers managed by an independent third party. Officers couldn't access their own recordings, couldn't delete, couldn't edit. The public data dashboard was live. Anyone with internet access could see traffic stop statistics updated in real time. Race, age, neighborhood, outcome, officer name, all public. The numbers showed change, not perfection, but measurable, undeniable improvement. Racial disparity in traffic stops had dropped significantly. Use of force incidents were down. Civilian complaints had decreased. The Independent Oversight Board had reviewed complaints. They sustained several. Officers were disciplined. One was demoted. Accountability wasn't perfect, but it was happening. The training program was comprehensive. Hours annually of bias training for every officer. Guest speakers included formerly incarcerated people, civil rights attorneys, community members who had experienced police violence. Officers hated it at first, resented it, called it political indoctrination. Then something shifted. Sergeant Ramirez, promoted after Paul's retirement, told Dr. Lena Caldwell about a stop from some time earlier. Young black kid, busted taillight. Officer Rivera, white guy, former Marine, pulled him over. But before he approached, Rivera sat in his cruiser and ran through the training scenarios, asked himself the required questions. Ramirez pulled up the body camera footage, showed Dr. Lena Caldwell. On screen, Officer Rivera could be heard speaking quietly to himself. Would I stop this vehicle if the driver were white? Would I approach with my hand on my weapon? What's my real reason for this stop? He approached the car differently, relaxed, open, explained the taillight, offered information about a free repair clinic the department partnered with. No ticket, no escalation. Minutes start to finish. The kid drove away safely. That's one stop, Dr. Lena Caldwell noted, watching the footage. It's one more than we had some time ago, Ramirez replied. By some time later, Riverside's reforms attracted national attention. The Police Executive Research Forum published a case study. The Riverside Model, Federal Oversight as Reform Catalyst. Multiple other police departments requested consultations. The work spread. Dr. Lena Caldwell testified before the Senate Armed Services Committee. The chamber was packed. C-SPAN carried it live. Senator Kamala Wallace asked the question everyone wanted answered. Dr. Lena Caldwell, critics argue federal intervention undermines local police authority. They say communities should control their own law enforcement. How do you respond? Dr. Lena Caldwell didn't hesitate. Senator, local police departments accept federal money. Billions annually in DoD surplus equipment grants alone. Money comes with conditions. If you take federal dollars, you follow federal rules. That includes treating all citizens equally under the law. She paused. Riverside PD wasn't just violating civil rights. They were violating the terms of their federal contracts. They lied on compliance reports. They took taxpayer money and used it to fund discriminatory enforcement. Reform isn't punishment, it's accountability. It's what should have happened years ago. The clip went viral. Millions of views. Dr. Lena Caldwell never sued for wrongful arrest. She could have won millions. Emotional distress, civil rights violations, false imprisonment. She didn't need the money. Her firm's reputation skyrocketed. Morrison Strategic Group became the gold standard for police accountability audits. They had more work than they could handle. But the real victory came sometime later. A young black woman, college student, was pulled over by Riverside PD. Officer Rivera, same officer from Ramirez's story. The stop lasted minutes. Respectful, brief, professional. The student received a verbal warning about her registration. She drove away safely, unharmed, unthreatened. She posted that evening, "Got stopped by Riverside PD today. Officer was respectful, explained everything, didn't treat me like a criminal. Never thought I'd say this about cops, but it was okay. Something's changed there." Dr. Lena Caldwell saw the post, didn't reply, just saved it in a folder on her desktop. The folder was labeled, "Why We Do This." Sometime after the reforms began, the Riverside model showed measurable, sustainable impact. Use of force incidents down significantly, civilian complaints down, community trust surveys up, officer retention up. The good officers stayed. The bad officers left. The system was finally selecting for competence and character instead of aggression and compliance. Dr. Lena Caldwell presented these findings at a major conference. The auditorium held hundreds of people. Half gave her a standing ovation. The other half sat with arms crossed, furious, threatened. Progress was messy, uncomfortable, necessary. By some time later, multiple cities had adopted the model, then more. The dominoes were falling. Dr. Lena Caldwell gave a TED Talk. 20 minutes, no slides, just her voice. "I didn't set out to be an activist," she told the audience. "I set out to do my job, analyze data, write reports, recommend policy changes. But when the system punishes competence and rewards prejudice, doing your job becomes an act of resistance." She paused. Let that settle. If you've experienced discrimination from police, from employers, from anyone in authority, document it, record it, report it. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You are witnessing injustice. Your testimony matters. To those in power, reform isn't optional. It's inevitable. You can lead it or be dragged by it, but it's coming. The screen behind her faded to black, then displayed white text. What injustice have you witnessed? Share your story in the comments. Subscribe for stories of courage and systemic change. Together, we build accountability one case at a time. Dr. Lena Caldwell's story became one of those real-life stories that proved change was possible. Not easy, not quick, but possible. Black stories mattered. Powerful stories mattered. Touching stories of ordinary people standing against systems designed to break them. These stories were the blueprint for justice. Have you experienced profiling? Share this video. Comment below. Subscribe to follow more stories of people who refused to stay silent because silence never protected anyone. Documentation did. Receipts did. Truth did.